Are you looking for a way to monitor the important things in your life? Well, Synology gives you the ability to surveil and protect your home and/or business with an extremely reliable and easy-to-use surveillance system. Synology's Surveillance Station 8.0 brings a ton of value to the table over other CCTV systems. It runs well in Internet Explorer and Safari. One thing to note with that is that Live Preview doesn't run at all using Chrome. That's something I'd like Synology to add in the future if they can. Synology also gives its users the ability to install a native client on your Windows or Mac system so you can monitor 24/7, 365. Since Surveillance Station can run fully via a web browser, users can set up Synology's Quick Connect feature for remote access from any system that has internet connection. Having a system like this running in a browser makes a very reliable and secure solution because Synology is able to push updates continually without having any issues on the receiving end. Additionally, they push a ton of updates to their native client, so you're always up to date and you're always the most secure. With security, Synology gives you the ability to set up two-factor authentication for further protection against unauthorized access of your system. Not only does Surveillance Station work on Windows and Macintosh computers, Synology also makes an app called DS Cam for Android and iOS devices. The app gives users access to all the cameras that are tied to that system and will give access to the ability for two-way audio communication if the camera you're using has the hardware capability. So you can have a conversation with somebody on the other end, albeit a little bit delayed. Upon detection of certain events, Surveillance Station can send notifications to specific individuals via SMS, email, and/or push notifications, so you can have all of those set up for you. You can set up your system to notify you if someone tampers with a camera, if someone accesses an area that you're monitoring or some motion in that area, and if a camera goes offline, just to name a few, giving you the power to react to certain situations faster, because in those types of situations where you're monitoring or taking care of something or trying to secure some area, time is very valuable. One downside of using a system like this is the actual installation of certain cameras, as it can be difficult to install a camera in the perfect spot. That's because you need outlet access relatively close by to a camera to install it correctly. Ideally, you want to have the power source protected behind a wall or mount the camera directly on that outlet to prevent against tampering of your camera. With this system, it boils down to selecting the right camera for the job. So just keep in mind that you'll have to have an outlet or power source readily available to connect a camera to it. Because Synology systems are so versatile, you can set this type of system up with failover support across multiple NAS devices. You can run the system off one Synology NAS and have multiple recording servers to protect against data loss. Additionally, if you have an off-site Synology NAS, you can set up a cluster and have that as an off-site backup running additional data protection. So that's huge. I mean, you're really protecting yourself against loss of footage or something like that in case of a fire or some emergency or some sort of unauthorized access of a certain area, so you can get that to the proper authorities.
There are privacy advantages to using Synology's Surveillance Station. Now my footage is being stored on my NAS and not in the cloud, to where I have to agree to some sort of terms of service where employees of that company or service can access my footage if they want to or need to. Now, this is to the extent that I set up Synology's Quick Connect appropriately and have two-factor authentication to protect against unauthorized access of my system. For me, I'd much rather have my footage stored in an area where I know and have control of it. It's no longer being uploaded into the cloud. I can also monitor very private areas and not worry about those wandering eyes from those companies. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but I'd rather just prevent against that and implement a system like this and have my footage under my control at all times.
Now, to compare the actual cost of what Synology offers over Nest, Xfinity, ADT, and Canary, I want to talk about the vast IP camera support Synology has and the true cost of ownership. Nest is about $200 per camera. You have to do your self-installation, and it's about $10 a month for 10 days of video history. And the price just goes up from there if you want to add cameras. Xfinity has a $99 installation fee, is a minimum of $30 a month with early termination fees if you want to get out of that. And you only get motion and access sensors with no camera monitoring. When I went on to ADTs to get pricing, they ask you to submit information so that you can get a quote from them because their pricing varies per the needs of the user. But from my perspective, I pay $40 a month for motion and access sensor monitoring only. I also had to pay an installation fee and had to agree to a minimum term of service. So there's also early termination fees included in that as well. Now with a system like Canary, it's $200 per camera. It's self-installation and about $10 a month for 30 days of video history. With the membership, you also get $1,000 of homeowners and renters insurance deductible. Now here's where the awesome thing with Synology is that it supports up to 5,500, that's 5,500 different types of cameras. The initial upfront cost of the Synology system and cameras is the only cost that you'll see with no monthly fees. It is self-managed with storage limits and recording time limitations, and much, much more. The only thing with Synology that you don't get with services like Xfinity and ADT is that it will not send out local emergency services per alarm needs without checking with you first. Ultimately, the cost of the Synology NAS system and drives with the cameras using surveillance station is cheaper over the life of the hardware. That is that you subscribe to a home security system or monitoring. You can take granular control over your storage allocation on your NAS, customize how much footage you want to keep and for how long, and customize the quality of your recordings. Not only do you get a surveillance system when you buy into Synology, you get a full-featured NAS device that has many, many more uses other than acting as a surveillance system alone. If you want to see how I use the Synology NAS as an editor, hit this card and you can see my review of the DS916 Plus. Before I close, I must disclose Synology was kind enough to send me 2 AMCREST 1080p cameras with some extra drive storage so I could house all of this footage that I wanted to maintain on this home security system. Well, that about does it for me in this one. If you like this video, please feel free to give me a thumbs up. If not, you know what to do. Thank you for taking the time to watch. I am Tomas, and I will catch you in the next one.